Okay, for this built-in corrections for test 2 system and cycles, right? These two balls developing soccer ball identical means the amount of air they fill in is the same. That's why you have the weight which is the same. Okay, now what happens is later she pump additional 100 what do you call it, square centimeter square onto this ball, and now this ball is heavier, right? Ball B is heavier. What was she trying to show? She tries to show that air has mass. Next, which of the following statement about air is correct? Air has mass, referring to the definition of matter, and this one, air takes up the shape of the containers. Okay, leads us to the properties of air, that air has no definite shape. This says air occupies space, it refers to air as matter. Now this is not correct about air, and this is not correct about air. Therefore, A, B, C answers 1, which is correct statements about air. Right, over here is very straightforward. What you can see is has a fixed shape, has fixed volume. That refers to yes, and yes refers to solid straight away. Right, over here B happens to be only one solid, and this is the answer. All right, if you need to check with gas, no, no. Okay, has a fixed shape, it says no. Over here fixed volume, it says no. Right, next these two container, watch out for this, it says 40 centimeters square. Next is A and B. All right, take a look here. Now once you put A and B inside, okay, the water level rose to from 40 to 80 centimeters square, cubic centimeter. So the volume of A plus B is actually 40. Let us continue to take a look at this. Now over here, what does it say about this experiment? The objects can be compressed. No, nothing to do with this, because solid and liquid, right? The A and B are solid, and this is the liquid, cannot be compressed. So there's nothing to talk about compression. And next is the objects occupy space. Yes, all matter occupies space is correct. These A and B occupy space, and the volume of the two objects is 40 cubic centimeter, right? So A plus B is 40 cubic centimeter, which is true. So B and C, so far they are true. Over here, this is not true. Like the objects take up more space than the water, right? It is not true, because the objects took up 40 cubic centimeter, which is the same as the water amount. Can you see the water here? 40 cubic centimeter, and the object's 40 cubic centimeter. So D is not correct, and the answer is B and C, which is 2 over here. Next, this is a human circulatory system. Just a brief introduction. There's a heart and blood vessels. Now in the blood vessels, there are two types. One will flow away from the lungs to supply. Okay, you take a look here. Okay, the blood will flow. Okay, the lungs takes in oxygen. Okay, it goes into the lungs. Oxygen goes into the lungs, and these lungs send the oxygen to the heart, where this heart pumps, okay, through arteries. Right, inside arteries, it means that the blood has a rich amount of oxygen to be supplied to the whole body, right? So after the body used up the oxygen, the waste carbon dioxide it came up from the cells. The body cells purge out the carbon dioxide gases, right, in the blood, and they are actually transported through veins, right? These veins will transport back to the lungs, and from the lungs, it will be exhaled out, right, of the body, and at the same time, the whole cycle goes in again. All right, so that's what the blood vessels are doing. Okay, passing the oxygenated blood to the body and take out the waste carbon dioxide out of the body. Right, so this statement, it says, which of the following statements best describe this above system? It breaks down food into simple substance. No, this is talking about digestive. It helps different parts of the body to move. This talks about muscular and skeletal system. It takes in oxygen and removes carbon dioxide from the body. This talks about respiratory system. And this circulatory system, actually, it does this, right? It carries digested food, water, and oxygen to all parts of the body. Okay. Now, did it get the digested food? From the small intestine. The small intestine absorb the food and let's send it into the circulatory system. For water, the large intestine absorb water, okay, and some mineral salts, okay, and uh, send it into the system again, right? This circulatory system consists of the heart, the blood vessels, and same for this oxygen, okay, to the lungs. Oxygen goes to the lungs and goes to the blood system. Next, okay, I'm surprised that most of you know these answers. This is stomach over here. This big stuff over here is called stomach. Small intestine is as, sorry, this is a large intestine. This is large intestine. Yes, sorry for the error. This is the large or the big intestine. Large intestine, right? The big one, not the small one. Right? It's pointed to the big one. R is the small intestine. R is the small intestine. S is the large intestine. Okay, let's carry on. What will happen to the food that was taken into the body if organs Q and R? Where is Q and R? Q is the stomach, R is the small intestine. Okay, so remember this S is not small intestine, that is large intestine. Now the food will not be able to be digested and will not be absorbed into the body. Look, if the stomach is not around, there won't be a lot of digestion going on, and at the same time inside the small intestine, it does two function mainly. The earlier the beginning part of the intestine will start continue to digest food further, and the later part of the small intestine will absorb all the digested food into the blood system. So without the stomach, without the intestine, food will not be able would not be digested, and they would not be also be able to be absorbed into the body. Right? For this is very interesting. Now an empty what do you call it, without ABC inside, it is 30 cubic centimeter. Once we put ABC in, it becomes 85. Now let's check out A plus B plus C. How much is this? All right. So we found out that A plus B plus C is 55. How do we get 55? It is from the rise in the water level. Rise in the water level here. Okay. So the water level rose up to here. Up to here, you can see, right? The water level rose, and this is the space that is being pushed up, okay, taken by A, B, and C. Now, A and B is 40, A plus B is 40 cubic centimeter. Where do I get this? Right? A and B. Look here. A and B is 40. It means here the water level rose 40, right? So 70 minus 30, 30 which is the water, right? Total is 70 minus the water 30, you get this 40. Okay, the water rose by 40 cubic centimeter. It means A and B is 40. Now look over here very carefully, this part. We found out that A and B is 40, right? If you take a look on top here, it says A and B is 40. Can you see that? All right, now this comes up with a new equation. A and B is 40 plus C. Look here, 40 plus C gives you 55. Can you see? 40 plus C gives 55. Now we can find C. C is 55 taking away 40, which is 15. All right, 15 here. Now we found out about C. C is 15. Where is C? Here. C is 15. Okay, and over here C is 15. Now let's get on to find the rest. If C is 15, C plus A is 25. How did I get this? Can you see? C plus A is 25. Okay. Now the water level rose 55, right? Up to 55. At first it was 30. It rose up to 55. It means the volume of C and A is 25. 55 takes away 30 is 25. Okay, now we have found out that C is actually here. C is actually 15, right? So we put 15 here. C plus A is 25. Now from this equation, can you find A? Yes, right? A is actually 25 subtracting 15, right? So A is 25 minus 15, which is 10. Can you see? So we have C 15, A is 10. Can we find B? Yes. Now over here it says A plus B, all right? Or here, A plus B gives you 40. We found A, and A is 10. 10 plus B gives you 40. Can we find B? Yes. B is 40 minus 10, which is 30. Okay, 30 over here. Right. Okay, you may pause this and try to understand the whole process. I'm going to scroll this down and the lines will all disappear. Okay, so we found out that the C is 15, A is 10, and B is 30. So it says the volume of block B is greater than volume of block C. Take a look. C is 15, B is 30. So it is true that B is bigger than C. Next, the volume of block A is 10 cubic centimeter. Where is A? Yes, we found this. A is 10 cubic centimeter. Therefore, it is true. Okay, take your time to go through one more time, rewind this portion of the video to understand better, because I believe some examination question may come up. All right, next, over here, now remember these two stuff means the strings are being blocked. Okay, inside string A is filled with water, and this is just air. So what happened to the volume of string A? 2 marks, right? Now if you press the plunger, this water, because it cannot be compressed, it will not move, and the volume of the water will remain the same. See, volume of water remain unchanged. Why? Explain the answer. Because water cannot be compressed, right? That's how you support your answer. And B, if you press the plunger with this thing blocked, okay, the volume of air would decrease, right? Let me show you. You press it down, it will go down a little, right? Probably from here it goes down to this red line, right? So the whole volume here decrease, right? It is decrease, would decrease maybe a little, yes, definitely. Why? Because explain the answer, air was being compressed or air can be compressed. Next, right? The volume of the float increases, decreases, or remain the same as this lady blows in air into it. Right? The answer is the volume of the float will increase. It means this size, it gets inflated. Right? When you say float, it means the float includes the air. Right? Not just the plastic part alone, but the float includes the air inside. The volume, it would take up more space. Right? Therefore, the volume of this float would increase. Next. Now, Anna is just a set on this float. The float remains about the same shape. Now, talk about the properties of air. Look here. Air takes up the shape of the float, right? Because it's able to take up the shape of the float. It does not spoil the shape of the float, right? It does not change the shape. So it adapted to the shape of the float. It has no definite volume. So can you see? No definite shape, no definite volume, and because it could compress inside, it could be compressed inside this float, it actually allowed the float to have this uh, very tight shape. Just imagine if there's not enough air inside, this float will not be of this shape, but because the air is fully filled, that is why the float has this shape. It maintains the shape of the float, right? If you see very carefully, all the three properties of air are there. It does not have a definite shape, has no definite volume, and it can be compressed, right? These properties allow the float to be seen as it is, right? Without having the shape to change. That's all.